Hello all, good morning. Hope you all guys are doing fine. So the next topic that we're going to discuss today is intestinal infections. In that, the first one is poliomyelitis. Today our topic is on poliomyelitis. So what is this poliomyelitis? So if you want to study anything, we must know what is the thing about it. So what is the definition of this poliomyelitis? Means poliomyelitis is an acute viral infection which is caused by an RNA virus. It is an acute viral infection. It is caused by RNA virus. It is primarily an infection of human alimentary tract, but the virus may infect the central nervous system in very small percentage of cases, which is resulting in various degrees of paralysis and possibly death. So what this definition is saying means poliomyelitis is an acute viral infection and it is mainly caused by the RNA virus. It is mainly caused by RNA virus. It is primarily an infection of human alimentary tract. Where it is infecting? Primarily it is infecting the human alimentary tract, and gradually it is going and disturbing the central nervous system, which may lead to lead to the client to end up in paralysis or sometimes death also. So this is poliomyelitis. So poliomyelitis mainly affects children under 5 years of age. It is mainly affecting the children who were under 5 years of age. 1 in 200 infections lead to irreversible paralysis. So if you find 200 cases, in 200 cases you can find one patient who is landing in paralysis. Means irreversible paralysis means there is no chance of getting him back again. Totally his body will be going in under paralysis. Means the patient is the virus is mainly affecting the central nervous system of the patient. Among those paralyzed, 5 to 10% die when their breathing muscles become immobilized. So what this poliovirus is doing, even though it is an intestinal infection, it is gradually affecting the central nervous system. Central nervous system is mainly responsible for the normal functioning of the body. So whenever there is damage in the nervous system, so the muscles who are receiving the impulses from the brain, the impulses will get stopped, so that their breathing muscles, when they become immobilized, they may die due to the breathing cessation. So when there is effect in the central nervous system, it will lead to paralysis of the body. If it is going into lower limbs, it will lead to lower hemiplegia. If it is going into upper body part, it will be like quadriplegia, or completely we can say the patient will end up in paralysis. So based on the muscles involved, the patient will die. In those patients, 5 to 10% of the patients are dying due to the breathing muscles which were immobilized. Cases due to wild poliovirus have decreased over 99% since 1998, from an estimated 350,000 cases to 33 reported cases in 2018. What they are saying means, nowadays you can see, in previous days there are more number of polio cases. Every time they used to say polio cases. But now the incidence rate had been coming down. The incident rate had come down. How it come down means, so in the year 1998, approximately there were like 350,000 cases reported. But in the year 2018, only 33 cases were reported. As long as a child remains infected, children in all countries are at risk of contracting polio. So what this statement is saying, if there is one person who is infected with the polio, so there is risk for every other children in the country, because the spreading of this polio virus is very high. The spreading nature of this polio virus is very high. So this is polio. Polio from these last remaining strongholds could result in as many as 2 lakh new cases every year within 10 years all over the world. So what this one is saying, if you are unable to eradicate the polio, if you are unable to control the last person with the polio, then there in 10 years there will be like, for every year there will be like 200,000 new cases. So within 10 years, if there are for every year, if the cases rate is like 200,000 cases, after 10 years entire world will be affected with this polio according to the statistics. So in most countries the global effort has expanded capacity to tackle the other infections diseases by building effective surveillance and immunization system. So what they have done, so in order to prevent all these type of things, in order to prevent all these type of epidemics and endemics, all the countries have developed proper strategy to fight against these viral diseases. What they are doing, they are conducting the surveillance as well as they are conducting the immunization programs. So what is the problem statement here? So as I said earlier, in 2000, what happened? In 1988, there were like 3,50,000 new cases. So there is definite need for study of these cases. So coming to the problem statement, in the pre-vaccination era, poliomyelitis was found in all countries of the world. So what happened when there is no vaccination, when there is no proper vaccination, the poliomyelitis is present all over the world. The extensive use of polio vaccines since 1954 has eliminated the disease in developed countries. So what happened? Because of the rapid usage of polio vaccine, because of rapid vaccination among the persons, so in developed countries, this disease polio has been eradicated or eliminated. In 1988, the World Health Assembly resolved to eradicate poliomyelitis globally. So what happened in the year 1998, WHO means World Health Assembly, it had decided to eradicate, to start the program against the poliomyelitis. Their aim is mainly to eradicate the poliomyelitis all over the world. Since then, implementation of eradication strategies has reduced the number of polio endemic countries from more than 125 in 1988 to 6 in 2003. So what this statement is saying, as they have the World Health Assembly, it had taken an initiative to eradicate poliomyelitis globally. So in 1988, there were 125 countries which reported endemics of poliomyelitis in their country. But in the year 2003, there were only 6 countries which had reported the poliomyelitis cases. That means due to the measures that has taken before, the disease rate had come down in so many countries. From 125 to, it came down to 6 countries only in 2003. So the countries like India, Afghanistan, Pakistan, Egypt, Nigeria, at present regions of Americas, Western Pacific and Europe are free from poliomyelitis. Only the regions of Southeast Asia and Eastern Mediterranean and Africa are also reporting polio cases. So the countries like India and the countries like Afghanistan, Pakistan, Egypt and Nigeria and some regions of America, all these countries had said that they are free from poliomyelitis because of there is no reporting of new case of poliomyelitis. But some regions of Southeast Asia and Eastern Mediterranean and African are reporting polio cases at the present situation. Coming to the India. So coming to the India, vaccination against polio started on the year 1978. So when they have started the vaccination program in India, they have started in the year 1978 with expanded program on immunization. Means how they have started, they have initiated the program like expanded program immunization, along with in which they have included this polio vaccine. By 1999, it covered around 60% of infants, giving 3 doses of OPV to each. So what they have done, by the year 1999, they have covered around 60% of infants and they have given 3 doses of OPV means oral polio vaccine to each. In the year 1985, the Universal Immunization Program UIP was launched to cover all districts of the country. So what they have done in the year 1985, they have launched a program called Universal Immunization Program in order to cover all the districts in not only the states include districts. So what they have done, they try to cover all the districts in the country. So UIP became a part of child survival and safe motherhood program. Means UIP, this Universal Immunization Program has become a part of child survival and safe Motherhood Program, CSSM, Child Survival and Safe Motherhood Program. They have included it in the CSSM in 1992, and RCHP means Reproductive Child Health Program in 1997. So what they have done? In 1992, this polio immunization has been mandatorily kept in the child survival and safe motherhood program, and in the year 1997 they have kept it in the reproductive child health program. This program led to the significant increase in the coverage up to 5%. So whenever they had included this vaccination program, vaccination schedule in these programs like CSSM and RCH, so there was more chance of covering more number of people. The number of cases reported of polio also declined from thousands during 1987 to 42 in 2010. So in the year 1987 there were number of cases, means the cases of poliomyelitis are like thousands, there are like thousands of cases, but in the year 2010 there are only 42 number of cases reported number of cases of poliomyelitis in the country. So in 1995, following the global polio eradication initiative of World Health Organization, India launched Pulse Polio Immunization Program with universal immunization program which aimed at 100% of coverage. So previously they have launched UIP, which means Universal Immunization Program, which had covered nearly 60%. But in the year 1995, along with WHO, India has launched Pulse Polio Immunization Program, means PPI, Pulse Polio Immunization Program. The aim of this program is to cover 100% of the population. The aim of this program is to cover 100% of the population. The last reported cases of wild polio in India were in West Bengal and Gujarat on 13th January 2011. So when the last reported case of poliomyelitis was came, it came in the year 2011, 13th January, in which state? In Bengal and Gujarat. In Bengal and Gujarat, the last reported case of poliomyelitis had occurred in the year 2011. On March 27, 2014, World Health Organization WHO declared India as a polio-free country since no cases of wild poliomyelitis have been reported for the past 5 years. So India is one of the country which is free from poliomyelitis. Why this had occurred means this has occurred due to the several programs which were conducted by the government of India, and the efforts which were kept in eradication, which were kept for the eradication of this poliomyelitis has worked properly, so that the India became free from poliomyelitis. Since 2011 January 13, there is no reporting case for poliomyelitis, and WHO declared India as poliomyelitis free country in which year? 27 March 2014. So coming to the epidemiological factors of poliomyelitis. So what are the epidemiological factors? So poliomyelitis can occur sporadically, endemically or epidemically, means it can occur in a small place, it can occur in a group of community, or it can occur into the whole country. During the past century or so, the epidemiological behavior of polio has been considerably changed. So during what happened during the past 5 years, so the epidemiological behavior of polio had been declined. Why it had declined? Because due to the rapid immunization. So due to the rapid immunization. So coming to the agent factors. What is the agent here? The causative agent of poliovirus has 3 types of serotypes. The causative agent of poliovirus has how many serotypes? 3 types of serotypes. 1, 2 and 3. Most outbreaks of paralytic polio are due to type 1 virus. Mainly the paralytic polio was occurring due to the type 1 virus. Polio virus can survive for long periods in external environment and in cold environment. So it can what is the survival period of this polio vaccine? Means it can survive in external environment and cold environment for long periods. It can survive. That's what the communicability rate of this poliovirus is very high. It can live in water for 4 months and feces for 6 months. So this is why the incidence rate of poliovirus has been increased rapidly, and the isolation of the cases is also very hard. Why? Because see, the virus can live in external environment and in cold environment for long periods. It can live for long periods. When it comes, if it is in water, how many months it can survive? It can survive for at least 4 months. And if it is in feces, it can survive for 6 months. So the persons who are living in villages, they don't have proper toilet system. They will go for outside defecation. If one patient of poliomyelitis is defecating the feces outside, means in the country, so whenever a person the virus can stay there for another 6 months. From the day he defecated, the virus can survive there in the feces for another coming 6 months. So the virus is capable of infecting the healthy persons who is having weak immune system. So what is the reservoir of infection? As I said earlier, there are mainly, man is the only known reservoir of infection. Most infections are subclinical. It is mild and subclinical. It is the mild and subclinical infection that play a dominant role in the spread of infection. They constitute the submerged portion of an iceberg. There are no chronic carriers. No animal source has been demonstrated, though no animal source has yet been demonstrated. So what this is reservoir of infection is saying, the man is the only source of reservoir of an infection. Most infections are subclinical. Subclinical means they will not show any kind of signs and symptoms. So what happened? This person, they are capable of transmitting the infection. You whenever you go and see the community, so the persons who exhibit the symptoms are very low, just like an iceberg. If you remember an iceberg theory, what we see is very less. Iceberg will be looking like a small one when you see from the external environment, but when you go deep inside the water, there will be a huge part of the iceberg, submerged iceberg. Like that only, whenever you see a community there, the poliomyelitis cases will be very less when you see, but the affected person, the persons who are in subclinical state, will be very more. And for your kind information, there are no chronic carriers, means the persons can carry the virus only for a short period. The animal source is not yet reported. So coming to the infectious material, as I said earlier, the feces of man and oropharyngeal secretions of an infected person. So what is the period of communicability here? So when the virus has more time to spread from one person to another person, the cases are most infectious from 7 to 10 days before and after onset of symptoms. The cases are more infectious 7 to 10 days before and after onset of symptoms. So before the appearance of symptoms means from 7 to 10 days he is a great source of infection, and once the symptoms has appeared, again from 7 to 10 days means it can be like 20 days. The feces, the virus is excreted common for 2 to 3 weeks, so sometimes as long as 3 to 4 weeks. In feces the virus again I'm saying if the person who is having this poliomyelitis, he is capable of infecting the other persons before 10 days of onset of symptoms, and once the symptoms are appearing, again he is capable for another 10 days as a contagious object, as a contagious person. So the feces which he is excreting, commonly for 2 to 3 weeks the feces will contain this polio virus, but in some cases as long as like 3 to 4 months he is capable of excreting the polio virus through the feces in pharyngeal secretions during first five of illness. Coming to the host factors, first one is age. So which age group is mostly infected means the most vulnerable age is between 6 months to 3 years. In India, polio is essentially a disease of infancy and childhood. About 50% of cases are reported in infancy. Mainly it is mainly affecting the infants and childhood. About 50% of the cases are mainly reported in infants. And what is the age? The age is between 6 months to 3 years. Coming to the sex, more in males than females. Males are more affected with this disease compared to the females. Sex differences have been noted in the ratio 3 males to 1 female, means 3 is to 1 person, means 3 male patients are there, means there will be only one female patient. Coming to the risk factors. So coming to the risk factors, several proactive or risk factors have been found to precipitate an attack of paralytic polio in individuals already infected with polio virus. So what they are saying, if a person is infected with polio virus, so the following which I am going to say are the precipitating factors for the patient to land up in paralytic polio. The following are the precipitating factors. If they are having fatigue, if they are having trauma, intramuscular injections, operative procedures such as tonsillectomy, and administration of immunizing agents, particularly alum containing DPT. So all these things are major risk factors for the patient to land up in the paralytic polio. Coming to the immunity, the maternal antibodies gradually disappear during the first 6 months of life. Adult population is largely immune. So coming to the environmental factors, what are the environmental factors which are favoring the transmission of this poliomyelitis? Means polio is more likely to occur during the rainy season. Approximately 60% of cases recorded in India were during June to September. Environmental sources of infections are contaminated water, food and flies. So what are the environmental sources of infection? They are contaminated food, contaminated water and flies. Polio virus survives for a long time in cold environment. Overcrowding and poor sanitation provide opportunities for the exposure to infection. Coming to the mode of transmission. The first one is fecal route. Fecal oral route. The second one is droplet infection. So coming to the fecal or oral route, this is the main route of spread of polio virus in developing countries. What is the main route of spread of poliomyelitis in developing countries? The main route is fecal and oral route. The infection may spread directly through contaminated fingers where hygiene is poor, or directly through contaminated water, milk, food, flies and articles of daily use. So fecal and oral route is the main mode of transmission of this polio virus. And droplet infection, this may occur in the acute phase of disease because the person is capable of spreading the disease through droplet also. Oropharyngeal secretions of an infected person before the onset of symptoms for 10 days and after the onset of symptoms for 10 days. That means nearly 20 days his oropharyngeal secretions are capable of transmitting the infection from one person to another person. Close personal contact with an infected person facilitate droplet spread. So whenever you are going and meeting a person who is infected with poliomyelitis, close contact, it will lead you to the disease called poliomyelitis. The mode of transmission may be relatively more and important in developed countries where fecal transmission is remote. So droplet infection is the main source of transmission of disease in developed countries. In developing countries, there will be poor sanitization, poor hygiene. So all these are there because of overcrowding. All these things will come into play. But whereas in developed countries, since they are using proper toileting system, they are following proper hygiene. Even though if they do not follow, they will get. But the mostly the poliomyelitis is transmitting from droplet infection. Coming to the incubation period, 7 to 14 days, nearly 3 to 45 days. The range is nearly 3 to 35 days. Incubation period generally 7 to 14 days means 1 week to 2 weeks it is enough. But in some cases within 3 days it may develop, or within 35 days it may take to develop. Coming to the clinical spectrum. What is this clinical spectrum? So there are nearly 4 types: inapparent or subclinical infection, abortive polio or minor illness, non-paralytic polio, and paralytic polio. So the first one is inapparent or subclinical infection. Mainly this inapparent or subclinical infection, it is occurring in 95% of poliovirus infections. There are number of presenting symptoms, recognition only by the virus isolating rising antibody titers. So what is happening? This is approximately occurring in 95% of patients. This can be identified whenever you are doing a serological examination. Whenever you are succeeding in isolating the body antibody, then only you can find out what is this abortive polio or viral illness. It is occurring mainly in 4 to 8% of infection. Symptoms include low grade fever, sore throat, vomiting, abdominal pain, loss of appetite and malaise. Complete recovery will be within 2 to 3 days of this infection. See, you can see here, this is how you can observe only same as like this first one, inapparent or subclinical infection. Whenever you are able to isolate, whenever you are able to do the serological examination, then only you can find that the patient is having abortive polio or minor illness. Third one is non-paralytic polio. Approximately it is accounting for only 1% of all infections. The presenting features are stiffness and pain in the neck and back. Neck stiffness will be there, pain, backache will be there. The disease will last for 2 to 10 days. So what is the recovery period for this first abortive polio? Recovery period is within 2 to 3 days with no paralysis. But here the recovery period is 2 to 10 days. Recovery is rapid. Here the recovery is also rapid. The disease is synonymous with aseptic meningitis. So coming to the paralytic polio, this is the important one. It occurs in less than 1% of infection. It is occurring in less than 1% of infection. The virus invades CNS and causes various degrees of paralysis. What the virus is doing? It is invading the central nervous system. And it is causing various degrees of paralysis. The predominant sign is symmetrical and flaccid paralysis. History of fever at a time and onset of paralysis is suggestive of polio. So I am going to discuss clearly regarding paralytic polio, immunization and its prevention in the next class. So here I would like to end the class. So mainly I will discuss the paralytic polio in part B session of poliomyelitis. Thank you. Thanks for listening. We'll see you in the next class.